my dreams, carve me a valley.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Recovery Tour. I'm Joe Shannon. I'm here with my great friend Georgie Gorman, and I don't know how he has done this, but we have sitting here between the two of us is the one, the only, she doesn't need any introduction, Sandy Kelly. Sandy, listen, just to say thank you so much for agreeing to sit with us.
You, Joe, and you, Georgie.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah. And as you know, like I've been a fan of Sandy Dusky from a young fella. I used to fancy the pants of yourself and Barbara years ago. Yeah. And I remember you from Seafield Hotel, was it?
Oh God, yeah. Eastleigh.
Eastleigh?
Yeah, we used to play there all the time, didn't we?
You did, and you were just like, to me it was like Hollywood.
And it was a high stage, wasn't it?
It was a high stage,
yeah.
and I wouldn't say anything.
The same stage in Ballinamore,
all right.
in Leitrim. And the fella said to me one night, recently there, he said, we used to stand at the front of the stage to watch you. And I said, that's right, it was a very high stage. He said, well, there used to be a queue for confessions the next day, what we were thinking.
Guilty.
So I get it.
But tell me a bit, we all have heard your stories, but I know that your life was so interesting because you were from Ballintour.
It's interesting maybe to you, it's not very interesting.
I know, but it is, I'm chatting to our viewers. But Ballintour, was it?
Yeah, well, I grew up on my family's fit-up roadshow, travelling roadshow, and then at the age, I was almost 9 years of age when I had to give up show business and retire and attend school. So I went to live with my grandmother in Ballintour. So my mother originally came from Ballintour, so that's the connection there. So I went to live with my granny.
And where was your dad originally from then?
My dad was from Cavan.
Cavan, man.
Yeah, but they met, like, my dad's siblings, his brothers and sisters, they were all born in different counties because it depended on where the show was.
So this show, what, you travelled around, and what was the show made up of?
What drama, variety, music, all the songs of the day, play every night, sketches. There was a magician, my uncle was a magician, a hypnotist. My father was a comedian, and everybody on the show had to take part. So from the age of 3, 7 nights a week I would be performing.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what I mean when I had to give up when I was 9.
I know, yeah. And it must have been strange at 9 that having to give it up, was it?
It was horrible. It was really horrible because I went from, travelling to a different place every week and meeting different people, dressing up and performing, wearing makeup, all the glitz that we thought it was. And looking back, it wasn't very glitzy, but at the time we thought it was. And to give that up and then go live in Ballintour with my grandmother, whom was very strict.
Right.
Very, very strict. And she wouldn't have any of this nonsense about me singing. No
really?
Way. Yeah. I mean, my grandmother lived till she was 106. And when I would visit her, I'd say, I have to go and I'm singing such and such a place. She'd say, you're not still at that crack. Last weekend I brought my grandson Frank.
9 years of age.
In Ballintour.
In Ballintour. When did we say, did Sandy become Sandy as we know it today, or the Duskies? When did that all start?
Well, my family, when as you said there earlier, the show went out of fashion, when people started buying TVs and they didn't go out to entertainment anymore. So I remember my father saying, I wouldn't worry about RTE, whatever they are at the time. He said, because they won't last.
Yeah, he didn't.
He didn't think it would last, and he thought the crowds would come back, but they didn't. Yeah. So my family emigrated to South Wales.
All right.
And they left me with Granny, of course.
Okay.
I got to go for the summer holidays. That was about it. And while I was there, then they were doing the clubs.
Right.
So they started a little band, and they were doing the clubs. So I was still singing. Any chance I got away from my granny. And so that's what they did. And then we all returned to Ireland when I was 19. And by that time I was singing professionally in Wales.
In Wales?
I joined a band. And,
a local band over there type thing?
Yeah, a band that was doing very well actually before I joined them. And we had a residency in the Golden Garter in Manchester, which was place where Cliff Richards, Shirley Bassey, Shadows, yeah.
And did you meet all them?
I did, yeah. I was only 16.
No way.
Yeah, I was only 16.
What is Cliff Richard like?
Oh, lovely. And do you know who was there too? And he was lovely, Val Donegan.
Oh, yeah.
They had all these, Tommy Cooper.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So I met
He's
them.
my idol.
When I say I met them, I just say hello, because
I know, yeah.
I was very shy. I was only 16. And
Well, would you been playing around England or in certain parts of England?
we played mainly that residency for a good while, and then around Wales and England, just clubs.
Yeah, and did you find that the bands and the club scene in England, I played in England for a good bit as well, but did you find it was different in Ireland?
Oh, totally different.
Totally different.
Yeah. I mean, when you did particularly the Welsh workmen clubs, you know, you needed to know what you were doing.
Yeah.
Because they didn't didn't suffer fools. I mean, they had
No.
Tom Jones, Shirley Bassey.
Yeah.
A lot of the famous English entertainers that it was, you know, they started their apprenticeship with the workman clubs of England.
It was a great start.
But if you could survive it, you could survive it.
If you could survive it, because you know, inevitably at the end of the night when they do the Welsh national anthem, somebody would stand at the back and sing and take the roof off the place. You know,
Yeah.
just amazing singers, the Welsh people.
Yeah.
But then that was a great. You know, I started off learning my craft, if you like, on the show.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I progressed to that, which was another, you know, learning process.
Yeah.
And then when I came back to Ireland when I was 19, I joined the Fairways Show Band.
Oh.
And I didn't really want to join them. I just done it's a funny story. I was singing in, started a little group with, you know, Jerry Gallagher.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be a local musician.
Yeah.
And a few local guys. And I started the group myself because we needed money. I needed to make some money. I didn't want to sing. I didn't want to sing anymore after that.
Really?
And I've been singing 100 years when I was 19. Didn't want to bother singing. You know?
100 years at 19, yeah.
Yeah, that's how I felt. So I thought I don't want to do this anymore. And but then of course we didn't have any money, so we were back in Ballintor, and my dad said you better get back out there and sing. So I did, and we were singing in Killara House.
Yeah.
And I think a few nights before we were in French Park and singing in a pub in French Park, and in Killara House, Michael, who runs Killara House, came to me in the break, and he said, some fella rang here while you were singing, and he asked if Sandy Dusky was singing tonight, and I said, yeah, and he asked me to leave the phone off the hook, because he wanted to listen to you, and he said, so I left it off the hook. He said, I was going to ring you back when you're finished. So there's Tom Kelly, them managing the Fairways.
Yes.
So he said, will you come and audition for the Fairways? And I said, no, I'm not interested. I don't want to travel anymore. And it's me 19, like, I'm done.
I know, but it just shows how hard you did work, though.
I didn't want, I had no interest in it, no, absolutely none. So anyway, he said, well, I'll give you £30.
That was huge
I
money,
said, would you like me what time do you want me there at?
And was that 30 quid a gig or a week or something?
To audition.
Audition?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what would that be like now? Like, it'd be
A millionaire.
Well, it was a lot more than I had at the time.
Yeah. Wow.
So I had a little Austin A40 that my father put together literally for me, and it was a wreck of a car. So myself and my best friend Margaret Craig headed off to Newport.
Yes.
I didn't even know where it was, and I did my audition, got my 30 quid, and went home. And we laughed the whole way home. I said, that's the last day I'll ever see of me. But anyway, he was persistent, and he kept ringing, and eventually joined the Fairways then.
And is that how it works, Andy? Is it it's a brainchild of a manager like Tom Kelly that puts together an act, is it? And he takes the...
Well, no, they were already, Gary Street and the Fairways were a very established show band at the time, and they wanted to replace the girl singer that they had. So, what was there, 800 bands at that time in Ireland?
I'm sure there was.
I think it was 800.
Yeah. Wow. And
yeah, but it just landed me back again, you know, traveling and singing, and you know, it was a pop band.
Yeah.
Chart stuff.
But why? Sorry, but why did you were saying there that you didn't want to do it anymore? What
Not
was it?
really.
Was it the stress, or was it?
No, I was bored.
Bored.
Yeah. Most people start the other way around. When people ask me when did you first want to be a singer?
Yeah.
So I never wanted to be a singer. I just was. you know what I mean? And to me, it's a funny question because, like, I just was carried on the stage literally, and so it held no great.
it's just completely in your blood.
Yeah, but I was bored. Like I did very well at school, believe it or not.
Right. No,
Started at
everybody
9, and I before I returned here, my day job was I was an accountant's clerk.
Right.
And how I managed that, I don't know, but that's what I was doing, accounts. And I was happy doing that.
And how many nights a week would you be playing then on top of that?
4.
4 nights a week and doing
but
a full-time job?
The thing was, I was making £10 a week as an accountant's clerk. I was making £10 a night.
Wow.
singing. in
Yeah,
clubs.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, that was a big, wow. And then, so we had the Fairways, and you're very successful and all that. So where did the Duskies come out of it then? Was the Duskies the next
well,
chapter after
Gary
that?
Gary Street and I didn't get on very well.
Okay,
And one of us had to leave, and I wasn't going.
Right.
I decided I wasn't leaving.
Right.
So he decided he was going to leave.
Okay.
And people actually thought we were married. We looked great on stage, and he was a phenomenal singer.
right,
I mean, a great singer. But off stage, she was very difficult.
okay,
Very
right,
difficult to work with. And so we split ways, and that left just me.
okay.
And my sister Barbara then, she wasn't happy in school, so she decided she wanted to join the band. And I didn't really want her in the band, to tell you the truth.
And was Barbara like you now at this stage? Did she, like,
No,
you
she
didn't
didn't.
want to travel, you know, you had enough, we say, at that stage. Was she like that, or was
No,
she,
no.
she was the opposite, was she?
No, Barbara was very young on the show. She didn't remember the show at all.
Okay, all right, so she,
I'm 8 years older than Barbara,
okay,
so she didn't remember being on the show.
okay, yeah,
So, and she wasn't singing as a child.
right,
So she seen me in a band,
right.
and at 15 she decided she wanted to be in the band. And sure, I couldn't say no, could I?
She's a beautiful lady. She's
Beautiful
oh,
lady and a
my
fabulous
God.
singer. But when she started, she was a horrible singer. She was terrible.
Really?
Oh my God! The first night she came and we did a sound check, she started singing. I thought, Jesus Christ! We were in a hall somewhere, and I ran round, and all the windows in the hall were open. I ran round to close them, in case anybody would think it was me, and they wouldn't come to the dance. I thought
Did you ever
anybody-
tell her that?
I did, of course. I said, if anybody hears this, nobody will turn up tonight. And but I mean, she over the years she became a
Oh,
fantastic
my
singer.
God, she was
And
special.
a beautiful looking girl, you know.
And the most
Yeah.
fantastic, most endearing, most beautiful personality
Yeah.
that you could ever come with. She used
She
to come
was
to our
very
house
bubbly.
in Sligo and Cartron.
Did she?
Yeah,
Your
she
house?
was, yeah, she
Did
was
she?
very friendly with a neighbour of ours, Maeve Callahan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and she used to visit Maeve, and then she used to come
I
down,
know-
and
I
she'd
know
come down to
Maeve
us.
well.
Yeah,
Maeve
and
and
she
Brian.
was lovely, and she was absolutely lovely. No, you know what I mean. A few times, and we actually got to know her quite well.
Yeah, Barbara had a great personality.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful personality. She was just so
and she was
lovely,
very
natural.
good-natured and very charitable, and you know she had all the good qualities that you would want in
Oh,
somebody.
absolutely. No, but she was just very interested. Of course, you know, someone like the Duskies comes into your house. For us, it's a huge thing. you
Well,
know?
she was in and out of my band. You know, with the Duskies, you know, we had a good bit of success
Yes.
with Eurovision
Yeah,
in
absolutely,
1982. And then I decided during that period that I wanted to go into country music.
Yeah.
Because I was doing the Linda Ronstadt stuff, the Dolly Parton stuff, Emmylou Harris stuff anyway in the Duskies. And so I said it to the girls, I want to, you know, go solo and have a career in country music. And they were disappointed and obviously upset about it, but they understood. But then in the meantime, we had a very bad accident.
That's right. Yeah.
And
I
on the way
remember
to a
that,
gig,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Barbara was in hospital for 6
That's
months.
right. Yeah.
With spinal injuries. And that sort of split up the Duskies.
Yeah.
But going back to what you were saying with Barbara, she was in and out of the band. She joined the Fairways, then that changed to the Duskies.
Yeah.
Then she was out of the band. She met David
Yeah,
Duffy,
yeah.
and they were all very young. I think they were like 17 or 18 when they
Yeah,
met.
but then she would have been on the road a lot then, of course, with the circus.
Then she was the ring mistress in the circus,
Yeah, yeah.
and fabulous at that.
Yeah,
I mean, she
yeah.
was brilliant at it.
I've seen her.
And I mean, I've been going through photographs lately because I finished my book 2 weeks ago. I've been writing it for I don't know how long.
And when's it coming out?
Would you believe it, the 9th of October, which is the anniversary of, coincidentally, the anniversary of Bob's passing.
Yeah.
So I think that was meant to be for some reason.
Wow.
So I've been going through, for the first time ever, I think, going through photographs, because I've never looked at photographs or videos or anything like that, ever. And
So natural. And it was lovely when she came into our house. She'd sit down, have a cup of tea,
But
and
you
chat
know,
to you.
I think though, Joe, you know, if you think about it, going back to the beginning of our conversation, that's our background. Like nobody ever plucked us up and said, "Oh, you're going to be on the stage and you're going to." That was just a natural progression for us. Our
But you
family-
never lost your personality, Sandy. Even you.
But sure, like
I used to meet you at the dances. You always had time to chat to everyone that wanted to chat to you. There was never, I'm not going to name anybody, but there was people in your
I'll name
business.
them.
There was people in your business that wouldn't be as chatty, let me just say.
I know.
You know, been in the business I was in, I used to meet you all on you know, because a lot of the hotels I worked in used to have the concerts and all that. But you were always
Well, thank you for
in a
saying
very natural way, not in a showbiz, I have to do this. It was very natural.
well, thank
You
you.
cared about people.
that means a lot to us. But there again, I do think it comes from my family.
Says a lot about your parents.
Because
Yeah.
and my grandparents.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because we just came from several generations of entertainers, and it'd be the same if you were talking to David Duffy. He doesn't realise how people look up to him and
Yeah,
respect him.
absolutely, yeah.
He's just very normal because it's just our lives. It's not, when I go home and at any point in my career, when I go home, I still have to do the washing and I still have to wash the floors and I still have to look after
You don't
the
have a
kids.
butler, so you're telling me.
I
that.
don't. No. Even at this great stage in my career, no. And so, it's two different people,
And
The
so,
person
what
on
was it
stage
like,
is different.
Eurovision? Can I ask you about that?
Brilliant, it's great.
What is it like where you're picked, you're selected, you're
Oh,
going to
we-
represent your
We
country?
were shocked.
But what is the whole build-up of that?
We were
Give us a
totally
sense of
shocked
that.
because we thought the song that we had was awful, it was terrible. Here today, gone tomorrow,
here
and actually we
today,
were here today and
gone
gone tomorrow.
tomorrow.
But we were stars for 6 weeks, I think.
Oh,
When you win the National Song Contest,
Yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
stars for 6 weeks,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
once you lose it. I remember leaving Dublin Airport, we had a VIP reception and press call and people waving at us, and we came back, there was nothing. It was just an empty, nobody. And that kind of sums up the Eurovision, unless you win it, But we had the best time.
It was
great.
massive back then. It was
Huge, and
massive.
to walk out with the orchestra, the live orchestra.
What is it? Is it nerve-wracking, is
Brilliant.
it?
For some, no, I'm always nervous, but for some reason we weren't nervous. I think it was because we had rehearsed so much, and we had so much time,
Yeah.
and we had done it the night before.
And do you sing live? You
Yeah.
actually are singing
Oh,
live
yeah.
to the
Sing
world.
live, yeah.
And anything could go wrong at that moment.
At that
That's
point,
pressure
and you're
at
there
that.
with the orchestra, and you're doing your little dance routine and the whole lot.
A billion people watching you or something like it, or near enough
it's
to it,
live,
isn't it?
as it's
What did
happening.
you find when you done the Eurovision and stuff to come back here to Ireland, that the gigs got better and more important, if you like? Or,
When we won the National Song Contest, we were booked for every top festival in Ireland.
Yeah. That's what
So you get a good year out of it.
yeah.
And then after that, we didn't last the year because the band
Yeah.
went off the road anyway because of the accident. Yeah, and I went into country music. But sort of historically,
Yeah.
if you win the National Song Contest, you get a year,
Yeah.
out of it. And then after that,
Because you had your own TV shows and everything after that. I remember. There was,
yeah, but that wasn't as a result of the Eurovision.
that was
was
more.
much later.
Was it? Yeah. And I remember the Sandy Kelly show was hugely successful.
Yeah. Thankfully.
But if you can I ask you just go back a bit where you said there you went from at that stage you were probably doing more contemporary pop music, was it?
With the Duskies,
Yeah.
it was all charts. Whatever was in the charts. we
and
did, yeah.
then you said that you went into country. And what was that decision about? Was it?
It's just when I was with the Duskies, I was always leaning towards singing. I had Crystal Gale, Emily O'Hara's.
That's decline.
No, I never did any Patsy Cline.
Never?
No.
All right.
And so it was kind of more the current country of the time,
right.
and I loved it. And I remember saying, and if you think about it, country music wasn't cool at all at that time, and we were doing well with the Duskies.
Yeah.
And when I made this decision, everybody was shocked. And I remember some of the pop singers, my friends saying to me, "Are you mad? Why would you give up what you've achieved?" And I said, "It's just what's in my heart. My heart's not in what I'm singing, and I want to sing stuff that I feel."
It was a brave decision,
It was a
wasn't
brave
it?
decision.
But that's what I was going to say to say. And did you feel something more with the country music?
Yeah,
than you did with-
I could put an awful lot more feeling into the
Yeah,
songs,
that's fine,
and
yeah.
it gave me a new interest because with the Duskies we were doing everything from Boney M to ABBA to it was all that and great songs, but where do you go with putting any feeling into storytelling? I like storytelling, and I like songs that tell stories.
And of course, you played in the Grand Ole Opry and all of that.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
that
several
like?
times. Well, the first time I played it, everything went blur. When I went out on the stage, I couldn't see anything because I got such a shock.
Yeah.
I remember my producer Howard Bradley was standing at the side of the stage, and they announced all the way from Ireland, Sandy Kelly, and I went into a run. I was going to sprint out, and he grabbed me by the back of my shirt, and he said, "Stand up straight. Walk out there." He said, "You deserve this. You go out there and don't run out there." And I thought, "Oh shit, he's going to kill me." And so I composed myself and I walked out to sing my two songs. but I really didn't see anything. I couldn't see the audience. Everything just went.
I would say so,
because it was
yeah.
such a big deal to me, you know. But thankfully, I got to do it many times after that.
Yeah,
Where
it's
I,
sort of a spiritual thing, really, isn't it? In its own
Yeah,
sense, from a country
yeah.
and western point of view.
And I suppose an awful lot of the things I've done over the years that were important to me, I always thought that I'd only do it that one time.
Yeah.
And that made it even more intimidating. You know, I thought, well, I'll never get to do this again.
Yeah.
And then you just go do it.
Wow.
But it was an amazing experience.
And we're here in Markley Castle in County Sligo for people who's watching, and this is Sandy Kelly. And we move on to the next little part, which is Johnny Cash,
As we sit on his stairs.
as we sit on the stairs. Yeah.
Would carve me the house of my dreams.